Problems resulting from the use of alcohol and tobacco kill far too many people every year, and tragically, many of these problems could have been prevented. One of the best ways to prevent problems of this nature is to keep alcohol and tobacco out of the hands of our children. If we can keep today's kids from starting to smoke, we'll see a tremendous reduction in the number of adults who are hooked later in life. The same is true for alcohol. The majority of people who smoke cigarettes and drink alcohol start using these substances at a young age, typically during their teenage years. According to the Federal Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, youth ages 12 to 17 who smoke are more than 16 times as likely to drink heavily as youth who do not smoke. Our goal is to keep alcohol and tobacco out of the hands of our kids until they are old enough to purchase these substances legally. And by legally, we mean 18 years of age for tobacco products and 21 years of age for alcohol. As store owners, managers, and clerks, you play an important role in this process. It's your job to make sure you do not sell alcohol or tobacco to minors. You have a legal and social responsibility to uphold the law. If you break the law, you could be fined, you could lose your job, you could end up in jail, and your store could lose its license to sell these products in the future. There are many steps you can take to ensure that your store upholds the law. As a start, you can make sure that your establishment prominently displays appropriate signs in its doors and windows, as well as close to the checkout counter or bar, that clearly state the laws about alcohol and tobacco sales. It's also a good idea to have additional information on hand to give to those customers who might need further details about the laws and the penalties. This information can be very helpful in those instances when you have to refuse a sale to an underage and often unhappy customer. What are the laws in South Carolina? It is against the law for anyone to sell any type of tobacco product to anyone under the age of 18. This includes cigarettes, cigars, pipe tobacco, snuff, chewing tobacco, and even rolling papers. Violations are punishable by a fine of up to $465 for a first offense and up to $675 for a second offense. Third or subsequent offenses are punishable by a fine of up to $880. Instead of the fine, the court may require an individual to successfully complete a merchant tobacco education program approved by the South Carolina Department of Alcohol and Other Drug Abuse Services. It's also against the law for anyone to sell any type of alcohol product to anyone under the age of 21. This includes beer, wine, wine coolers, and distilled liquor. Violations are punishable by a fine of up to $465 or imprisonment for up to 30 days. And suspension of the driver's license for 90 days for a first offense and 6 months for a second offense. Any store caught violating these laws will face closer scrutiny and possibly tougher penalties. Store owners can even face the possibility of losing their license to sell alcoholic beverages in the future. In South Carolina, law enforcement authorities are using trained teenagers to participate in undercover compliance checks of retail establishments. The kids are using their own IDs when attempting to make these underage purchases, and it's amazing how many clerks have been busted simply because they didn't check the ID. When someone comes up to the counter to purchase alcohol or tobacco, ask yourself whether the individual is at least 35 years old. If not, ask for an ID. So what do you look for in an ID? In South Carolina, there are only 3 types of IDs that are legal and acceptable, and all must include a current photograph. Fake IDs are everywhere these days, and some of them look pretty good. That's why you should only accept one of the following: a valid state-issued driver's license, a valid state-issued personal identification card. Again, the key here is that it's state-issued, not something that can be ordered through the mail. A valid U.S. government-issued immigration ID, passport, visa, or military ID. These 3 types of legally acceptable ID will always have the following: the name of the issuing government agency, federal, state, county, or city, the name and signature of the person, the date of birth of the person, the physical description and photograph of the person, a valid date, not an expired ID. How do you verify a customer's age? Here in South Carolina, we've gone the extra step to help our salespeople identify potential underage purchasers. First, state-issued personal ID cards are clearly marked if the cardholder is underage. In addition, our state-issued driver's licenses are color-coded. When someone hands you a license with either a bright green or bright red colored border around the photograph, that's your signal that you need to take just a few extra seconds to ensure that the sale is legal. For example, anyone who is under the age of 18 when their driver's license was issued will have a bright green colored border around their photograph. Anyone who is over the age of 18 but under the age of 21 at the time the license was issued will have a bright red color-coded border around the photograph. So if you see a green or red border, just stop for a moment and do the math. Many stores have calendars or other types of signs posted at the register that show today's date as the date of birth required for someone to purchase these products. If your store has one, use it to help you ensure that the sale is legal. If your store doesn't have one, just take a moment to do the math. If the numbers don't add up, refuse the sale. Another helpful tool that businesses can use to help cashiers with the process of checking IDs is age verification equipment. There are several different types of equipment that can be purchased, but most of them are terminals that can read the information stored on the magnetic strip of driver's licenses and state ID cards. The ID is swiped and the machine calculates the owner's age, displaying the information on a clear and easy to read LCD screen. While this type of equipment is an important tool to have in place, employees should not become dependent on their machine to do their job. It is still your responsibility to check the ID, verifying that it is valid and it matches the person purchasing the product. If not, then refuse the sale. Let's take a look at the flag system for checking IDs. F. Feel. Have the person remove the ID from their wallet or holder. Feel the ID's texture for any raised areas that might indicate alteration. Check the lamination for any signs of tampering. Is it bubbling or peeling? L. Look. Look closely at the ID to make sure it's real. Look for the South Carolina state seal. Make sure the photo matches the person who is making the purchase. Look to see whether the birth date has been altered in any way. Look at the expiration date. If the ID has expired, it is not acceptable. A. Ask.
What's your middle name?
Ask questions of the person, such as their middle name or the month they were born. Ask the person to sign their name and then compare the signatures. G. Give back. Always return the ID. If you have any doubt about the ID, ask for a second one. If the customer doesn't have another ID, refuse the sale. And if you ask for a customer's ID and they don't have it with them, you need to do the same thing. Refuse the sale. Let's take a look at the following scenarios and see if you can identify the points where the employee is demonstrating the refuse system outlined in the prep manual.
I'll take this, please, and these.
Not a problem. Can I see some ID, please?
Sure.
I don't know. This looks a little tampered with. Do you have another form of ID?
No, I don't.
Well, then I'm afraid I can't sell this to you.
Oh, come on, I'm 21.
Sorry. The store could get in a lot of trouble if I sell to a minor. Do you still want the mints?
No.
See, the customer wasn't happy, but the clerk handled things professionally and didn't make the sale. There are no exceptions to this rule, even if some of your good but underage friends show up.
Hi, John.
Hey, you two. How's it going?
Fine, just glad it's Friday.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You know I can't sell that to you, right? You're underage.
Oh, come on, nobody's around. Plus, we're legal.
Yeah, right. We're in the same biology class, remember?
Come on, John, be a pal.
Sorry. I could lose my job.
Some friend you are.
Can I help the next customer in line, please?
But what if an adult comes to the store and tries to make an alcohol or tobacco purchase for some kids outside? Tip-offs can be that a customer selects multiple brands during a single purchase, or if you have seen an underage kid approach the adult customer outside the store. What should you do? First, ask the customer if the products are for someone underage. If he or she answers yes, explain that it's against the law for you to sell alcohol or tobacco products to minors, even if someone else is buying for them. Finally, explain that it's against the law for them to purchase and transfer the product to the minors, and they could be fined, imprisoned, and/or lose their own driver's license for a first offense. Then, as always, refuse the sale.
Hey,